Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics. Today we are talking about rigging and fishing an absolute Z-Man favourite, and that is the Z-Man 4-inch SwimmerZ. So the SwimmerZ has been around for a number of years. It's caught a stack of different species, been an absolute go-to on mangrove jack, barramundi, flathead, mulloway, all sorts of species. Love this little baitfish profile, and it is probably the best mullet profile that I've seen. It has a big flat paddle tail, and that paddle tail gives it tons of action, plenty of tail action, and also plenty of body roll, which really attracts those species like barramundi and mangrove jack and that sort of thing. And it also swims at really slow speeds, which can be of benefit when you're chasing those fish and they're holding tight in structure or they're shut down, you know, that winter barra bite, that sort of thing where you cannot get them to eat. This little baitfish profile has switched them on and has caught plenty of fish. So available in a stack of great colours. So again, with our colour range here, we've got our clearer natural baitfish colours like the Open Ignite, Shiner, Smoky Shad, Bad Shad, those transparent sort of baitfish colours that look really good in the water when the water is very clear, the days are very bright, and that bite can be quite finicky. Those natural baitfish colours are excellent. Then we've got some darker colours like our AU and our red shad, the gold rush with that bit of gold fleck in there as well. So those darker colours are fantastic on darker days when the water's dirtier as well, tannin stained water. So you're covered with those dark colours. And then also it's good to have something with a bit of UV pop or a fluoro in your kit as well. And that's where the sexy mullet comes in, or the motor oil as well. And we know how crazy that UV glow is when you hit that with a black light torch, that UV torch on that motor oil, it just absolutely pops. So colour wise, we've got a ton of great colours. Profile wise, we're sorted. This is a beautiful realistic baitfish profile. Let's have a look at how we're going to rig this to catch a few fish. So probably most of the fish that are caught on this plastic, it's fished generally on a Headlockz HD. So the HD jig head, the Headlockz being that headlock grub keeper, which on the 10 times tough Z-Man Elastoc plastic, the plastic slides up in there and locks it in place so it stays on that jig head, doesn't slide down when you're casting and fishing. So even if you get a bump from a fish, a lot of the time you can just keep retrieving, your plastic's still swimming fine, boom, the fish will have another go, fish on. Because as well as being 10 times tough, it's also super soft and flexible, so it feels real. So it's tough, but it feels realistic. It's locked on there nice and solid, and it's also buoyant, so you get that tail up feeding sort of pose when it's at rest on the bottom. So on this Headlockz HD jig head, so that's a heavy duty mustard black nickel chemically sharpened hook, really, really strong hook. And it's generally rigged on a 3.0, a 4.0 or a 5.0, depending on your target species, how much hook profile you're looking for there, how much exposure of the hook you're wanting. And I know that quite a few people fish it on a 3.0 for flathead. So even big flathead, they'll fish it on that 3.0 hook. And that's a little bit finer wire and lots and lots of tail movement because that jig head's sitting fairly well forward in that there. So that's the 3.0 Headlockz HD. I reckon on a 4.0 it looks absolutely magic. Sits about halfway down the plastic, gives it plenty of tail movement, and that 4.0 gives you good hook exposure for species like jacks and those sorts of things. So our 3.0, 4.0, and then also a 5.0. So the 5.0 is fished often by the barra guys especially, but if you're chasing larger target species on this 4-inch plastic, that 5.0 is an option. Gives you a heavier gauge hook, so lots of stopping power, and you've still got plenty of tail movement out the back of that plastic, so still plenty of plastic out the back there. The 5.0 as well is really easy in terms of rigging on this plastic because you've got a belly slot on the Z-Man 4-inch SwimmerZ. So with the belly slot, I tend to rig the 3.0 and 4.0 above the belly slot and actually through the plastic, because if I use the belly slot, I believe that I don't have enough clearance of the hook. Personal preference. But with the 5.0, I actually use the rigging slot. So I'll go through the center of the plastic, out through the rigging slot, and then back up through the plastic, and that hook still has excellent clearance out the top of there. So that makes rigging really, really quick and easy. For those of you that find rigging a bit tricky, that belly slot allows really simple rigging with a 5.0 hook. So that's our 3.0, 4.0 and a 5.0. in that Headlockz HD, so a brutally strong jig head, plenty of stopping power in that jig head. That same hook is then available in a painted jig head. So our Big Eyes jig head, the Big Eyes is a painted jig head, and as you can see there, it has a big eye. It's got big eyes. Eyes are considered a strike trigger by many people, so this Big Eyes has big strike triggers, one on each side there. So a painted jig head option, the Big Eyes is available in a 3.0 and also in a 5.0, so both of those can fit this plastic. So if you prefer the smaller hook, that 3.0 is a good option, and you can see there we've got the black and silver Big Eyes with the glow eyes, and that's a very, very natural looking baitfish profile. So we've got the black top and the silver on the underside of the head, very much similar to our natural baitfish plastic. We've got that dark back and that silvery sort of belly. So that's a very, very realistic presentation for clear water, bright days, finicky feeders. Otherwise we might switch it up, same plastic, but we've added some pop here. So we've got the chartreuse head with the red eyes. So we've given that a bit of pop, we've created a strike trigger for fish to attack that and to make it more visible. So we may run that in the clear water just to mix things up, but it may also be a good one in the dirty water to add a bit of pop, bit of UV to that plastic. So that's the chartreuse with the red eyes. Then we've got some others rigged here in our 5.0, so this is a 3/8 5.0, which will be brilliant. And I'm really, really loving the gold rush color at the moment on the black head with the glow eyes, especially fishing dirtier water after all the rain that we've had, and also deeper water. So catching mulloway around structure and that sort of thing, this plastic has been dynamite. So that's the black head with the chartreuse, and you can see we've teamed it up with that plastic. So we've got overall got a really good dark silhouette presentation for dirty water and also fishing deeper water as well. But then we can take that same plastic and jig head, totally change it up. That's our pink Big Eyes on a pearl coloured plastic. So totally changed it up. They're gone a bit more natural, but with that crazy popping head. So don't forget that painted head option is there as well as another option in your kit to try and switch on a bite. So plenty of fish caught on that Headlockz HD, but just remember that Big Eyes is there. Serves a purpose and definitely has caught a lot of fish for me lately using the pop of that chartreuse head or that dark silhouette colour of that black head. So 3.0 and 5.0 hooks again in that 4-inch swimmers. Then if we want to add a bit of bling, we want to add a bit of flash to our 4-inch swimmers. Very effective on barramundi, very effective on Murray cod and a stack of other species as well. Snapper, even if you want a slower dropping plastic, get one with this paddle tail, so the swimmers and the blade on there be a slower drop, hang up in the water column, give the fish time to see it, and a little bit of a secret weapon for snapper as well. So that's our 4-inch swimmers rigged on a Revlox. So the Revlox has the weight of the jig head tapered down and also has the lead weight going down the bottom here attached to that blade. That helps to keel the plastic and control the torque of that blade underneath there. So that's going to create flash and vibration combined with that action of our paddle tail on our plastic. So a very, very effective addition to your ZMan 4-inch swimmers. As you can see there, we've got our longer, thinner blade, which is the Willow, and we've got our rounder Colorado blade. So slower thump from that blade on the Colorado, the rounder blade. Willow runs a bit faster, runs a bit deeper, spins a bit quicker, and that flash. So gold preferred in dirty and tannin water, silver in the clear water often, but mix it up as you see fit. So secret weapon on the barra, on the Murray cod and other species as well. So there we are rigged on a standard head, painted head, and adding a bit of flash. Our other option with our ZMan 4-inch swimmers, and one way where it has caught a ton of mangrove jack, is weedless rigged. So Hinchinbrook up north, areas where I fish up that way, if we're fishing drains and things, really shallow flats with snags on them or shallow drains, we'll often swim that plastic on a Headlockz SWS. So that's the chin lock, is that keeper there that holds the plastic secure on the hook. And then we've got that belly weight, and that's our SWS, the snagless weight system. So that means we can run that plastic through the trees, over the trees, run it through some crazy structure, and then when the fish hits it, because it's super soft and flexible, that elastic plastic clears really, really easily. So that's a 4.0. I like the 4-inch swimmers on a 4.0 Headlockz SWS hook. So another option for getting it in amongst the weed, in amongst the timber, and getting stuck into a few fish. Probably the most common way you'll see it rigged weedless is on that snake locks head. So our Headlockz has the weight at the front, gets that plastic down to the depth we want, drive it through the structure and that sort of thing. If we wish to, we can have a box set up with a selection of hook sizes and a selection of Headlockz head weights, mix and match as required. So again, that 4.0 is an excellent starting point on that ZMan 4-inch swimmers. No belly weight on this one, our weight is all head forward. Our plastic will get up and move around because it is so buoyant. Fish just comes down and grabs it. They clear that hook very easily because of that elastic material. So that is the 4.0, and I know that some guys also rig it on a 5.0. The 5.0 gives you that bit more hook clearance and also larger hook gape for getting the corner of the jaw of big barra and that sort of thing. So some of the guys that chase Murray cod and barra will run that on a 5.0. Most of the time I generally fish it on a 4.0 hook, so both of those will definitely do the job, and they're a good strong hook on there. And also that stainless steel wire that allows us to clip off and on is rated to 75 pounds, so plenty of strength in that wire as well. So that is our ZMan 4-inch swimmers. I always scent up with ProCure, as I've said in the past. It definitely helps mask foreign scents like fuel, sunscreen and soaps, and also has real ground bait in there, as well as powerful amino acids, bite stimulants, UV enhancement. Definitely increases your chances of catching fish. I will put a little bit toward the head of the plastic and I'll smear it right down to the tail, and do that every 30 to 50 casts, or after I catch a fish I often put a little bit on there as well. So what sort of flavour are we going to put on a potty mullet? On a 4-inch swimmer's baitfish profile, I generally put baitfish types of scents on there. So the ProCure in the mullet, the sardine, the bloody tuna, all great starting points. I know some guys love that inshore salt water, and in the fresh sometimes they switch things up with a bit of aniseed or garlic plus as well. So plenty of options in that scent. I normally carry a couple of flavours with me so I can switch it up if I'm finding the bite really tough. So there you go, that is an absolute ZMan classic, the ZMan 4-inch swimmers. Been catching fish for a long time, still absolutely slays them, and that different tail action gives it a different sound and a different vibration underwater, which allows you to switch things up from, say, your 4-inch diesel minnow, your 3-inch minnows. You can switch it up and throw that swimmers, especially if you need a really, really slow, dead slow retrieve. So Headlockz HD in a 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, Big Eyes in a 3.0 and a 5.0, 5.0 or a 3.0 in that Revlockz, and we've got our Chinlockz SWS in a 4.0, Headlockz in a 4.0 or a 5.0, and you are ready to rock and roll. Get out there, throw this plastic around, and you're sure to come across a stack of different species. All the best with the fishing. Cheers.